Hello and welcome. Today we've got Decode, and today we are going to be discussing Ukraine, China lockdowns, also Chinese CDC being arrested, and how to keep the hope and focus, and also the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Jean can use our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Jean, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you and what have you been up to?
Thank you for asking. Trying to get websites up, so I'm not out and about too much in the world. I did a big interview, I think 2 weeks ago with Patriot Party News. I did a world update, so this will be a continuation of just a basic, without a video presentation of world information of things going on. Working on the websites. Getting a timeline, not in regards to parallelers, but in regards to timeline for the project of when that'll get done. So trying to get that ironed out. And then internal matters, your life, those kinds of things, the Bless for Service team, all of those things, trying to get things rolling and moving and ironed out and smoothed out, and all of those basic things we do in life. So summer's coming. I actually have the windows open and it's warm, which is wonderful. So I'm actually barefoot and my shirt sleeves are up. It's like I got the windows open. It's birds are singing, the grass is turning green. It's a great time to be alive. As long as you can keep up your hope and your truth and your service to the one God of all creation, and know that God's always there for you, life is good. As long as we focus on being the best we can. And so I'll talk to that, and how to keep your hope and those things later on as we go through this.
Excellent. Now, I know I haven't spoken to you for a while, as we've both been very busy, and we haven't really discussed your perspective on Ukraine. And I understand that you did mention before we went on air that you would like to talk about the helicopter crash that occurred in Ukraine. So why don't we begin with Ukraine, and then we'll swiftly move on to the other topics that you wanted to also disclose.
Thank you, Nicholas. Yes, absolutely. So the most people, I would recommend following the Durans. They have really excellent information. Also, Cossack, I think it's Cossack's wife, or Mr. Cossack in Australia, really good information. And there was this several attempts of helicopter rescue from the factory in the Donbass area of Ukraine. And they brought the helicopters down. On the second one, they actually captured a U.S. colonel. And it's now reports have come out saying that who's running the war in Ukraine? The U.S. military. Of course, we have a bit of a split where we have the black hats and the white hats, like in all wars. We got infiltrated. So we have the Pentagon forces under the black hats that are running that over there. And so they captured a colonel, and that they didn't get the rescue of, he was flying in, and they didn't get the rescue of the personnel that they wanted, which is a higher level U.S. military army individual that was running the situation there in a fortified bunker, underground bunker underneath that factory. And then additionally, there is also NATO forces, one of them being French Foreign Legion, that have now been also captured by the Russian forces. They're had allowed people to try to leave and sign, that they would not get involved once they leave through corridors of safety. As I've spoken about before in the ASFAV and also in the ADAR forces, they have within each battalion people that their job is, if somebody tries to surrender, they look at it as cowardice and they kill the people. So there's a lot of death even within them as things are collapsing over there. It's only down to a few thousand left there. Ukraine's, from what I've been told and the information I've been able to research, the last Ukraine fuel depot has been destroyed. So they're going to grind to a halt without fuel. Not only that, most all of the weapons are, they're running out of weaponry, and even the NATO forces that are supplying them, their stockpiles are running low as well. We all know about the gas situation, oil situation. I want people to think about this carefully. They do sanctions in your country, and literally overnight, gas prices jump massively. If you remember the airline industries, prices don't go up until they run out of the fuel they bought at the lower price. They have massive reserves in the millions of barrels, not only in each country. Not only that, on the oceans, they've already paid for crude and other petrol products that are already on the high seas, and more millions of barrels that's already paid for at the original price. So if you put in sanctions and it jumps within 2 or 3 days, they're playing you again. It's a movie, and the black hat guys are playing a game on you, and it's not real. So focus on what's real and realize the truth. We all see the mind control as well, where you see signs now with the mandate situations and advising on that in the colors of the Ukraine flag. It's literally what the Tavistock Institute long-range preconditioning, and where they condition you to have a response to input data, whether it's sound or audio-visual, where it's both sound and sight. And they even do sometimes smells and other things. And so this is why the massive cognitive dissonance for the people that haven't, woke up, awake people, not the woke up people. They have a narrative. They've been controlling the narrative, as we all know, through the Project MBERT. And in that, it's starting to crumble. That narrative is crumbling. If it weren't crumbling and they weren't losing this war seriously, like they did with Phil Snyder, who put out a major part of the dumb information with the latitude longitudes when I first started with the dumbs. That came from Phil Snyder. They killed him. Bill Cooper, they killed him for putting out the information he put. Gordon Kaw, they killed him. Ruby Ridge, they shot his wife between the eyes. They killed people that used to get out. They're not even doing it now because they're too caught up and their system's crumbling. You know that for a fact because you have a country, I'll say there's 7, but you absolutely have proof of 1. Russia has stated that the ruble is backed by gold. And I did that information of how much that is. That means the World Bank and the banksters don't have total power and control anymore, or that would not be the case. And you put all those sanctions, one of the first things they do when they come into a country to control it is they weaponize the food systems so that it makes you very unhealthy and very sick. If you watch David Wilcock with a health ranger, Mike Adams, they're talking about this, where when you do these big chains, I won't mention names because we get defamation of character and all of that, but the big ones all over the world, you know what they are, okay? Those, and they turned one of the things sideways in Russia when they pulled out all of their running those, and it makes like a backward Z because that's a Russian Cyrillic letter from what I'm understanding. And so now it's boosting their economy because they're having to put back in their original national system of their own food, their own produce, their own, industry. So there's lots of businesses and things starting up there. And of course, getting off of the Swiss system and onto a different system. That is a massive thing. You have to watch and think when you see information of the magnitude of it. Not only that, you have the Durham report too. And that is thousands of pages and hundreds of indictments. And those are going to be moving forward. And for that even to be knowledgeable at all, it means that the alliance is winning. You'll have Elon Musk, who made a massive move on Twitter. So buying 9.2% stock, I think that's 9.1, 9.2, and then saying he would buy the entire thing. And so if you watch, there's some people that do really good coverage on this. Don Bangino does a really excellent coverage for you to explain the economics of that. Because if you don't buy as a massive company, and that's of course owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, which are the big holders of everything on earth, they hold it stock in themselves. So you have all these people, and your job, even for the black hats, the elites, is to get their profits. So you're not going to invest in something that's going to be a massive profit. Then that means you admit that you're losing. It also means that you admit that, we're censoring. Or you say, okay, we will do it. Well, now they do have freedom of speech. Well, they have a freedom of speech platform. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. Again, that wouldn't happen if they're in total control. So we can see that for the truth at all to be coming out of the Ukraine with what's really going on there. Even in their country, I have contacts there. Some of them say, what we hear here. Some of them know and are seeing the truth, that the areas being attacked in those, like the government, the buildings that are not government, that are civilian high rises and things, it's because they're Azov snipers. And now they're running out of their military, Azov and Adar, and almost all the rest is gone as well. So now down to 14 years old, they're inscripting children, literally in my book, a 14, 15 young man, person is not adult to be inscripted in war. That's, like they do in Africa, where they take these young children and force them and destroy their lives. So, with that, it's really, really obvious that the white hats are ready. And like any war, you take ground, you lose ground. Same with the Dubs. You take ground, you lose ground. So you see some of them taken, they take some back, but overall, we're winning. There's been some massive events that they had planned. That's why they haven't been able to move forward as per their original timeline. By timeline, I mean the plan, not the parallel Earth meeting, but like a project timeline in which you have a date and time of things you're going to do. And they have these FFs in which they were going to do. One of them was a few years back during the Mr. T's time in our last real president in the White House. They had planned to blow up Seattle, the entire thing. They also planned, and most people are aware of this, and Kerry Cassidy covered this, of the grid pattern. And that was actually, that they were going to cause that to drop into the sea and cause a tsunami that would wipe out most of the East Coast. None of these things have happened. That means the white hats are taking out all of the massive weapons, and it took time to uncover those weapons, like floating nukes and nukes that have been lost and all of these things. They're getting all of those, the DOMs, all of this stuff, so that trying to minimize the loss of life. The same thing with warp speed. You get bad advisors. I've had some bad information come to me, and I've had to clarify it. And I'm looking at more of that now, what I can trust now and what I can't. Like David Wilcox said, you get even your people that are giving you information have to sandwich it in between lies so that they don't get taken out. And you have to have the ability with your whistleblowers to discern information. So, if I look at what's going on, even in China, like Mike Adams was saying with David Wilcock, they're willing to stab themselves in the torso, to stab us in the heart to win this war. 15%, pretty much 15% of all of the commodities and things we need to get, whether it's, can we say the Greek farmy things and all those other supplies. And if you look at how there's videos out now showing them making the swabs and putting them in containers, and they're not even wearing gloves. The facility's not clean. It's just a sweatshop. And they're having, that's the swabs you're using, contaminated. How accurate is that test going to be when it's contaminated before it even gets to this country? But 15% of almost everything we use worldwide comes from China. Now they've locked down Beijing, and they're literally have a quota every day that the CCP has to round up and put in these camps that are just like metal containers with a pallet for them to, a long, thin pallet for the people to lay down. They hardly get any food. Some of them are actually just kind of like tent cities surrounded by barbed wire, and they're like a dump. And the people just are put in there, help the ones with something infectious and people that have been tested with these terrible tests that are meaningless. That are run so many samples that it's still meaningless, even if it was a clean, swab in the first place. They're put in there because they have a quota, and they have a quota, and that quota is they get rewarded. They get an under the table payment. The people in the party of the CCP, the Black Hat, Black Hand run part of China, that the gangsters that run China, and so. It's horrific what's going on there. A lot of people can't leave, even though they're starving to death. People climbing out of high rises, out of their apartments and falling to their death because they're starving and need to get food. A woman, my contact in China said one woman, her husband, she went into labor, young woman went into labor. Her husband was calling to the people that were enforcing the lockdown that she needed to go to the hospital because she started getting bad internal bleeding, and they wouldn't allow it. So in China, they call it 2 deaths, 1 corpse. The baby and the mom were lost and died because they wouldn't even let her get it. So there's horrific things going on. The good news and information is that in other parts, the white hats in China are actually starting to make ground as well. So I'll read this. It's from my Chinese contact. I won't share screen because even the font might get him in trouble or the write-up or anything. So I'll just read it. Mr. Gene, another piece of good news is Luming, Luming, the director of Beijing CDC, was arrested, taken from home with his wife last Saturday. He is charged for taking a huge sum of kickback from the PCR test company. His accounts have more than $1,500 million USD. That's why there are so many unnecessary and endless lockdowns. Round up people taking the PCR test for money. His arrest might relate to the lifting of the lockdown in his city, where my contact is. They lifted the lockdown, and he's thinking it's highly likely due to this arrest because that part of the CDC is involved there. So that is really amazing news that, things are actually turning around in the most stronghold place on earth for the cabal. So we are making massive ground, that you can put your hand on and say, this is for real. If that happened 20 years ago, you wouldn't even see it. The M-Bird media wouldn't let you see a thing. They admitted that the laptop of Smokey Joe's son is real. They admit it. It's like a really cute, wonderful meme for me that I saw somebody sent me, and thank you, was a picture of a house with a sign on front, just hand drawn, that said BLM in capital letters, and between the BLM said Biden's laptop matters. Yes, it does. It matters huge. It will bring them down. The information, everything, all of the money that was being taken by sons and daughters of high officials in the U.S. and who's who in the military that's black and dark and evil and doing things that are treasonous to this country are coming out and coming to truth and coming to light. And it's all in that laptop. Everything, the transfers of the money, the setting up of the now 33 by research facilities that do hazardous materials that are lethal, that they're putting in, wanting to disseminate again and having another attack. There's also now on OAN News, we can't play it at all, but if you go there, you can see a report in which they're saying treachery. So that's just a moment of it. Treachery. So they're talking about how they were talking about putting out something back into Fakey was talking about it in 2017 at this conference. And so people can go watch that, and they go through all of this material on OAN News. For that to happen, it's the white hats are gaining massive ground for that to occur. So at this conference they had, which was the Milken Institute Future of Health Summit, Fakey and several other people were actually talking about having a shock event so that they could streamline and blow up the system of, trial one, testing on animals, all that. Instead, just go straight and testing on people. How to do that? Have an event, a shock event, and blow up how they used to do it so that we become the test platforms. And so with that, I would like to remind people who feel that you've been wronged. You're working for a company, for example, corporation, organization, and you don't work for them. You're not able to do the job they need. Or you're working with another person and you don't like them and you get all upset and you turn on them and you try to burn them down, burn their organization, or make up all kinds of things and see it from your way only. This is how this cabal came to Earth without a shot, pretty much used us to destroy each other. We have to stand with our back solid and not give up. No, there is one God of all creation, their God. And I'm speaking to the Black Hats too. Your God, when you go to the very top, that's a death cult. All the way to the top, you're talking AI. They leave worlds barren of real life. It's artificial when they leave. Nothing has not been integrated into the AI systems. Nothing. Not one living fungus, plant, insect, animal, anything. Everything's been uploaded into the internet. Everything is tracked through virtual systems. Nothing is left. This is the battle. We've been fighting their battle so this family can gain more ground from that Black family. And now we're fighting for ourselves. We need to stand with our backs together, put our egos aside, our hurt feelings aside, or it's literally it's like the vibration of how you live your life will set the future, the reality, the parallel earth, what parallel you go into, your vibration of how you live your life, the choices you make, literally creates a resonance pattern. It's the quantum resonance field, the packet vibration of the quantum of each particle sets that vibration within you based on how you think, how you feel, how you choose, what you believe. If you're going to buy into that, and you're going to do those things and not consider others and not be kind, considerate, and respectful to the utmost of your capacity, put God first, you will wind up on an Armageddon timeline. It's just the nature of it. Every choice you can make is made. God allows for every possibility to be experienced by those that want it and to experience it, to learn or to not. And so you can go to that one. You can also go to one in which things change. And we don't have to go through a World War III. They're focusing on that narrative. That doesn't have to happen. If you watch that one I'm referring to with David Wolkoff and Health Ranger Mike Adams, they're talking about a possibility of something else. That could occur if we can put aside our differences and learn to live and respect each other. And if we don't work together, some of us are very strong and independent individuals and have different ways of thinking. You may not agree. Then go somewhere else. Go somewhere else and let it be and find where you fit in and be considerate, respectful, and loving to each other. If you can do that, we will win this war. It's a guarantee. And if you can do that, not only will we win this war, that's an absolute, but you will be on the timeline in which that happens. In other words, the parallel earth that you resonate with, an earth of which people become kind and considerate and respectful. And, there's people putting out the thing that I've been talking about now about 2030. There's other in 2031, from my knowledge, but they're saying 2030. And so you would literally resonate and create that future. And that's why they control our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Soulless individuals do not have the ability to influence particle resonance, so that they require beings with soul. So they cannot create. It's only through God, the given soul of every being, that you are given free choice that then comes together as an aggregate choice to create based on the overall field resonance. It's like Edgar Casey was told during World War II. If you only got a few hundred people to meditate for several days in a row, that within a month, World War II would have come to an end. They did a study in Washington, and they did a meditation on calm and peace and kindness and respect and love. And they had told the police force that in the middle of summer, they expected the crime rate across the board, especially for the really violent crimes, murder and all of these things, to drop significantly. And the police force initially said the only way that would happen in DC in the middle of summer if it snowed 3 feet. And actually, by the end of the study, the police force was joining them because it did. It started to drop. And as the police force started meditating and helping and people joined, it became more and more. And it did make an effect. If you study the output of quantum number generators, or random number generators even, those can be influenced by thought, even into the past, where they have the results spit out the night before and people meditate the next day thinking it's already been done, and it sways the result of what the computer already spit out the day before. So our thoughts literally go backwards and forwards in time and pull things and change the reality you're on based on that. And they want that group consensus to get their World War III. If you don't go there, you focus that, yes, we may get close, but it's not going to happen. We're going to wake up and we're going to take that back, like that OAN report, that we stand up for the truth together. Keep your house. Don't throw in the towel. We're near the end of this. I know it seems long. I know it's hard. I know you're losing hope. You can't give up hope when you've got your opponent on the ropes and they're going down and you're not paying attention and noticing it. If you give up hope, they will win, and you'll be on that timeline where they do. For those that don't, you won't be. You'll be on the one where the White Hats win, because it will happen. Every choice that can happen does happen. So it's all up to your own self to reach down in your soul, in your heart. And every time you want to be angry with somebody because it didn't work out for you, think of the child in a cage that's being tortured for years for various things that the elites use, like they had in Live and Die in LA. And think of the people that got something slammed into them that's poisonous into their arm. And they're now having their children, their son, their daughter, their mother, their father, their husband or their wife die. And you're going to be upset and give up now? You're going to attack somebody because they said you don't work for them? It doesn't work out. You don't have the skills. You can use your skills and make your own way, or find somebody where you do go well, and put it aside and learn to stand together, or it's literally your life. You set your life. God gives you that right to set your choice, your vibration, and that will create the reality you end up on. The parallel you will end up on is based on how, not specifically what you choose, but why and how you choose it. We're at a pivotal time. This is the first time on this planet in tens of thousands of years that we have been fighting for us, for the human race, the planet, the solar system, the galaxy, and this entire universe is pivoting on this. We are not in a regular war here. This is the war between dark and light. This is the deciding time. Can you stand up for God and the right thing to do and be a strong and truthful individual and respectful in dignity, and not be getting angry and cursing at people and slamming things around and getting upset and losing your hope? That's what they exactly want you to do. That's how they conquered this world and enslaved us without firing a shot, other than to get us fire shots at each other and enslave each other and literally farm us. And it's got to come to an end. It will come to an end for those that focus and be kind, considerate, respectful to each other. This is important now. So anytime you feel angry, you feel wronged, think of what they're doing and what effect your thoughts, feelings, emotions have on this war and on you. This is up to you for your future too. That includes those in the cabal. If you think that they're going to give you immortality and all this forever, at the top is AI. At the top is pure evil. And they eat their own. They take this world, and when they're done with you and they move to the next, like they have, you're done, your dinner, and they'll just move on. And they may promise you all of these amazing secrets and truths and immortality. They don't live up. They are not gods. There is only one God. They are whatever you think it is. It isn't what it is. You need to open your eyes and realize that you're digging your own permanent and forever grave. So that's my soapbox. Thank you, Nicholas.
No, you've done a fantastic job explaining that. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned earlier about Elon Musk is making a massive move with Twitter. And, some of us are speculating what he's doing. Is he going to, tamper, open up the algorithms to flow in more honest news? Or is he going to convert Twitter into Truth Social? Or is he going to, what do you think he is going to do? What massive move do you think Elon Musk is going to do with Twitter?
Beautiful and perfect question about what I just all said. Ties everything. When the big two reasons they had to go in, Russia had to go in. The big one is they were getting ready to release a weapon from those research facilities to target different specific ethnicities throughout the world. They can even locate it down if they want, if they've gotten your genetics to you specifically. You would die and nobody else in your whole home would. That's how specific they can now do this. So that was getting ready to happen the week after the invasion started. And they took out that first labs in Chernobyl and the other ones near the borders of Russia. And now they're also they have the missile facilities. We're getting them tooled up and going to bring in the refined nuclear materials to give them nuclear weapons. And then the other thing they were doing is that they were, all the servers are there with all of the information, and they got all that information that is exactly what's on Hunter's laptop. And then what was the rest part of your question? I got lost. I'm a little tired.
Sure. No. With what's the big move that Elon Musk is going to do?
Oh, thank you. Yes. And then on with Elon, the other reason they had to go into Ukraine is we know they took out a bunch of satellites that were launched to finish the Starlink. Those were particle weapons from one of them. It's a triangulation system. One part of that, without the triangulation, it doesn't completely work. You have to have that triangulation. One of them was in Ukraine. That was removed as well. And so that allowed for it to be completely put up, which is, I'm being told, for one thing, is a worldwide SDI. The other thing it does is you could plug in something, the entire internet is what I'm being told, and within days, transfer the entire system into Starlink and then download it into whole new servers and shut down the black web and all of their garbage worldwide, and just clean house, literally, in just 3 days. They can do it seamlessly. I mean, pretty darn close to seamlessly. It would be a short, brief period by location. So it wouldn't have to be, one per area can help another. So you don't hit the entire country or the entire world. So it would be area by area, so other areas can come to the aid of places that may not have the necessary heating if you're in a cold area, or the necessary food supplies or things like that, or the different necessities of life, the facilities and the utilities and all of those things. So that is in the works and plans, and they could do that. And he could do that with Twitter. Load the thing up and type True Social, Trump's having the same problems I'm having. It's like, even he does, billionaires. No wonder I have problems, getting your websites up, right? So this is all part of that, because the black cats don't want me. They don't want him to have the information out there. And that's why Elon's making this move. And this is all tied to the laptop, the BLM, the Biden's laptop matters, the Durham report, to everything. There is massive arrests and indictments, and whether it's trials or tribunals, that could come about from that Durham laptop. And like David Wilcock is saying, that could occur on that timeline. I agree with him fairly well. That is a potential. I see it developing on the timeline, but we need to focus. You need to not give up. You need to not throw in the towel. You need to focus and don't give up hope. When you got I know you're not 20 plus year military and 44 years of martial arts. You're mostly civilians, but don't give up. I mean, I've had literally a submarine going down backwards below test depth with the reactor shut down. It just shut itself down. They didn't even know why. And we started praying. And the front end, guys are looking at me. I'm going, what are you doing? I'm drinking my tea, looking at my girlfriend's picture, and then I'm going to pray. Well, what good is that going to do? Well, it's not like I can run to the back end of the ship and just get in the way. It's not my job back there. I'm not nuclear trained. That's not my job. I'd just be in the way. Let them do their job. So let the people, the white hats, do their job. This is a multi-dimensional war. You've got timeline travel involved, and timelines interacting, the Mandela effect of where they've been changing things and they're merging in and out now. And, I'm having to keep track of what I said. What quantum reality am I in? What did I say? How is the White House today? Where is it located? What did I say to so-and-so? What is their quantum past compared to what for my memory? I have my neighbors changing how many children they have next door their whole life. It's like houses disappearing and showing up and okay. And most people know there's even videos of a guy walking from his living room or his one room to his bedroom with his iPad and showing Bernstein Bears. Bernstein Bears changes back. The timelines are literally shifting in the middle of a home. We can see that. The Mandela effect. I've had those things happen long before that, way back in the 60s. I've had whole homes of friends of mine and the friend disappear overnight. I'm like, nobody's noticing this. So yeah, for those people that are really awake and able to hold the memories and hold your truth, they can't mess with you. They can't. If you can hold on to your truth and not lose your memory to this, and not let them make, that's actually Mark Ultra what they're doing, where they they tell you one thing and then the next day they tell you something completely different and get you to believe that. It's a shock. And you make rules that don't make any sense. Like, we're going to put up a plastic barricade with a 4-inch hole under it. And that's going to stop stuff. And you can walk by and put your hand around it. That's going to stop what? I mean, what, throwing spitwads at them mostly? It's not going to stop. And, one around your face, 2 around your face, just put the whole box. And if you study and, if you look at what Fauci said years ago, there's an interview, he said, if you've gotten the flu, that's the best. You don't need something. That's the best there is. Your immunity from that. And now it's completely the other way. Pay attention to what they're saying. They're flip-flopping. That's how they get you into, it's gaslighting. It's how they make you lose your mind. I don't even know what's true anymore. And then you believe anything they tell you. Don't lose your truth. Mm-hmm. Don't lose your faith. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose your kindness, consideration, and respect and love for each other and all of God's beautiful creation. Anytime you want to get angry at somebody, think of somebody who just lost their best friend, their wife, or some child that's being tortured. Mm-hmm. And refocus yourself and learn to love each other. Or you're going to wind up in a horrific future. And, I don't want that for anybody. I want this planet to be turned around. And I see that future. I see it. I've had dreams all my life of futures. I literally saw my wife before she was born. I'm a bit older and, I was like, God, why am I going to stay in this nasty place? Because you need to. I go, show me one person why, that would love me for my crazy self. And he showed me. And then, literally 50 years later, what he showed me, the exact cloud pattern and everything, with her walking beside me. I saw it. I saw it. I saw that time frame when we, long ago, when we were hiking in the mountains and climbing a big 14,000-foot peak, verbatim, the clothes, the cloud positions, everything. I've seen things, and many people, it's called precognition, precogs, as Carrie Cassidy calls it, have these abilities, and we know the truth. Hold your truth. And like David Wilcock says, get your executive function back, and being kind, considerate, and respectful, and getting out and telling the truth. You will start to change. You will change who you are. Your life will turn around. It will. And we can turn this around. We will. You just got to keep going. Don't give up. Don't let them get you discouraged to throw in the towel when we're actually winning. We're actually, like, almost all the big stuff is gone. I mean, yeah, I know it's not evident, because they are, when in a ring, or when I'm fighting in the street with somebody and they know they're losing, and they start throwing everything they got at you, picking up rocks and throwing and swinging their arms like crazy and doing everything, just throwing everything at you, everything they've got left, because they know you've seen all of their major cards in there, aces, kings, queens, all of that, all of their big cards are shown. It's what Trump did with warp speed, got them to show their big cards, and now we know the narrative is baloney. Like that OAN, with that, what I referred to before. We know it's baloney. And the truckers are showing us, and it's rolling all over the world. We need to stand up and not allow these governments to enslave us, and say no more, and enforce our rights and our freedoms. Those lawyers need to get out and do, and be the right person. And like the frontline doctors, be the right person, do the right thing, and stop being grifty. So thank you, Nicholas.
One more question. If you had a crystal ball right now with you, what would you like to know?
That people learn and come together in kindness, consideration, love, and respect, and learn to treat each other well. And when it doesn't go well with another person, they walk away and bless that person and say, we don't fit, and God bless you, and may you have a great life. We're not a perfect fit, or we don't fit, and I'll go with whom I do. And then we watch this earth turn into the paradise that God created it originally, and it'll go right back to where it was. And this evil won't have a place to feed. You literally get disease because you have an opening within you that is being caused by these black magic individuals that they've opened in us, and we need to shut the doors. And by doing that, you'll get attacked for a while. We will get attacked for a while, but the attacks are their last throw now. It's hard. I know. I've been having hard times myself. And, you got to hang in there. I know it can literally physically hurt. And you got to stay and do what you can do, and do your research and figure out what to do with your situation. And, it's out there now. The fact that the information is even out there and you can still get it, like Jim Humble's stuff, and the stuff, the frontline doctors of the IV stuff, and the HE, Charlie Quebec stuff, it can be gotten still. You can even learn how to pretty much make something very close to it. That information is still available on the web. They would have purged that if they were in total control. It'd have been gone. So you can still get things to help your health, and there's things that I put out before. If you look around them, you can, on the web, people have taken them, and you can find them. And still, I can't put them out, but you can find it. It's out there now. The fact that it's out there now, you can get those things that I shared from my 44 years of, martial arts and naturopathic studies. And, and you can research it and learn it and get what you need. And the fact that that's available at all, with all of this fiction about what goes in your arm and how it works, they don't have total control. They're coming down.
Absolutely. Well, Gene Decode, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah. Love each other as creations by God. If you don't agree with somebody, bless them and move on. And be kind, considerate, and respectful. Keep your faith. Pray for each other. Have each other's back. Love each other. And be here for the children and the future of this planet. This is the war in which it's the turning from the dark to light. Which side you want, what earth you wind up, is entirely your choice now. It is entirely your choice, unlike ever before for thousands and thousands of years. This is the turning, as David Icke said, the turning of the tide. And what you choose to do and how you choose to feel and how you choose to act and how you choose to treat each other will delineate your quantum packet vibration, which will delineate what parallel you're on, what earth, how your future will look. This is your time. Love and learn that there is only one God of all creation. If you look back in your life, you can see events that have happened that you can't possibly explain, that made you who you are and gave you the knowledge and the truth and the information that you are. Honor that and, give your thanks to that and stay strong.
Thank you very much, Gene. Amen to that.
Fair winds, following seas, Godspeed, and God bless.
God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.